I would first like to say that I am very, very excited to be meeting you all today in the first official session between DPCH Design Post-COVID Humanity, hosted by Hamad bin Khalifa University and Riyada for Social Innovation. We are more than honored to be the social entrepreneurship training partners in this program. And it's our utmost pleasure really to be working with a group of change makers, youth leaders, and social innovators like yourselves. And we cannot wait to see how your projects will unfold and what you will be up to. And we totally look forward to supporting you bring your ideas and projects to the next level to make them sustainable and impactful projects and initiatives and businesses as well. So this is how I feel about it. I'm Mona Itani. I'm the founder of Riyada for Social Innovation and the general manager. And I'm accompanied today by Yasmin Al-Qaisi, who has recently joined Riyada, but has joined us full throttle in all the activities we are doing. And we are very excited to be launching very soon an e-learning platform that is specialized in social innovation education for the youth called Shabab Lab. Of course, if you are Arabic, you know that Shabab means youth in Arabic. And we will start with the Arab world, but we hope that in a few years' time, we will be able to expand beyond that. But let's see how it goes first. And definitely, you should always start small, but dream and aim big. I would also like to thank, of course, Dr. Evrento, Gokchel, and the team of SOG Lab for facilitating all of the sessions so far. And I have been following the news and following your progress, and I am very happy to see how things are coming really. So today, as you know, the topic is about introduction to social innovation, and social innovation is embedded in the name of our social enterprise, Riyada for Social Innovation. It's a it's a very dear topic to our hearts, and it's at the core of what we do really. And we believe that social innovation is a must-know skill, a must-have tool for youth like yourselves to be able to create change, to create impactful solutions to pressing problems that they face in their communities. So this is why we are doing this. And definitely this makes a great fit in design post-COVID humanity, because we have to think out of the box, because we have to think about solving problems that we face as human beings, especially with what happened in COVID. And now, as we know, like things after COVID should not be the same way as they were before COVID. So let's just start by asking you guys to reflect a bit about the video that you saw before I start with my presentation. Really, it's not a presentation. I'm using Prezi video in case you're interested to know. I'm not using slides because I would like it to be more interactive. Yeah, you will be seeing some content and some pictures as we speak. And during the session, we will also be breaking you into breakout rooms so that you have the opportunity to discuss with each other and do some application work to the concepts that we will be covering in this session. So who would like to volunteer and reflect a little bit about the video? And you do not have to just type. I mean, I would really love to hear your voice and not just hear myself speaking for the next 2 hours. So any volunteers, would you like to raise your hand? Abdullah?
Yes, thank you so much, Mona. So basically, I love the concept that was introduced in the video. Of course, this concept, most of us might be aware of already. But I think the Grameen company, they adopted it very well, and they gave the world a scenario where they proved it to be successful. Basically, the concept is of a social business where when you donate $1 or when you donate any money towards a social business, it has multiple lifetimes, like it gets recycled and many can benefit from it, as compared to when you donate money to a charity, which might only have one lifetime, as when you donate it, it is used, it's gone. So this is the concept of a social business. And I think one of the best ways forward to solve many problems that the world faces today.
Mm-hmm. So if I may ask you, Abdullah, like, where is the social innovation in the case that is presented in the video? I mean, it doesn't have to be a correct answer, but what do you think was the social innovation there?
I think it was the multi-tier system is what I personally really liked, where it's not just the business owners who are benefiting and not just the sales people who are benefiting, but entire communities are benefiting the long-term outcomes of it. So that for me was a model of social innovation where you don't just impact on a profit and loss basis as in general businesses, but you impact and revive entire communities and countries in a longer run.
All right, thank you for that. Nermesh, would you like to go next?
Hi, Ms. Mona. Thank you for that video sharing. Actually, the video reminds me of like a story regarding India's Pet Man. It's called Pet Man. Basically, he identifies an issue about sanitary pets or poverty pets, and he empowered the community around there and make the women to be the pioneers of the pets. So it's the same story in this video as well, in which that they rectify an issue that is ongoing in that certain country, which is malnutrition. It's a social-based issue, but they make it as an innovation in itself that empower the woman over there. And not only that, has revenue for the company to run what they call these one of the speakers saying that it doesn't focuses on I would say a profit, but it focuses on the community around there. So it's actually integrating community and the social issue that's been going around, you know. So the woman from being a beggar and now she's being a business entrepreneur. That's the reflecting that I actually saw in the video. Yeah.
Great. And keep these thoughts in mind when we start talking about the difference between innovation, social innovation, entrepreneurship, and social entrepreneurship. Like, keep what you said in mind, and then maybe you would like to see if you would like to change anything from what you said. Let's take one last intervention, and then we will start. Is Naira, would you like to go next?
Hi, thank you, Mona, for sharing that video with us. I said like it's really inspiring and emotional charging. I felt very teary-eyed up on the end of the video. I especially like the idea that they use what is available to them. They have the company Danone, and they try to address malnutrition by using like trying to take every nutrient that is lacking and infusing it with Danone. And it's like kids, it's really hard to address malnutrition, but they try to use it with just one product, and that's for me is very creative and innovative. And they also use that product to help people. Like they're addressing a lot of issues using one thing, and that for me is really brilliant for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, again, keep your thoughts in mind, and let us see how they will evolve during the session. Great. So having said that, yes, I would like to go over a few definitions, if you would like to say, just to set the foundation for this session before we proceed. So basically, there's always a big question that comes in place when we talk about anything that has to do with innovation. I'm not sure if you have covered this before. I'm not going to spend too much time on these definitions, but I would really like to make sure that you understand how the different terms are different from each other and how they are similar, maybe. So to start with, whenever we talk about innovation, some people directly think of what we call invention, or like creating something new, creating some discovery, a new product, a new service. But in reality, the two are different. So very, very simply put, when we talk about invention, it's about creating something new. What happens with this invention, I mean, is irrelevant, really. So I might now create a new system that, I don't know, that collects sunlight and I don't know what it does with it. And I go and register a patent if nobody else has come up with this device before. Does my invention make me, does it guarantee the success of this product? No. Does it guarantee the sustainability of it or the usability of it or the adoption of this product? No. So inventions are irrelevant really with what happens afterwards. They are of course associated with what we call patents, intellectual property. A lot of people they would brag about, like, I have this much patents, for example, researchers, of course, and it's definitely very good. However, I want you to know that, I mean, if we just do an invention and we stop there, in terms of impact, nothing has really changed. It's just about our self-fulfillment, but nothing else, because I did not do any other steps to make this invention commercializable, or like to put it for the people and make the people use it. So of course, the inventions that we mostly know about are not inventions that stayed at that stage, but that progressed to become more than an invention. They progressed to become what we call an innovation, meaning that innovation, at the core of the definition of innovation, is the commercialization trait or aspect, meaning that this has to be commercialized. And the main difference between innovation and invention is that an innovation does not have to be or involve the discovery of something entirely new. So unlike invention, it could simply be that you have done a very simple change of a certain product. So in terms of intellectual property, you do not have the right to issue a patent because somebody else in the past has thought about it and they have created something similar. However, you were able to change something small and put it into market. So that is considered as innovation. It's called product innovation. And when you talk about product innovation, of course, it could be radical or it could be incremental. So it could be like big difference or a very, very small difference. For example, you all have these requests for downloading your software updates, right? Installing your software updates. These are what we call incremental product innovation. So your mobile company or OS company are making your operating software faster, a bit better, more robust, maybe increasing the lifetime of your battery, etc. You won't really feel a huge difference every time you install a new version of your software, but this will make over time the phone be better, etc., etc. So other types of innovation are what we call market innovation. So for example, if I think about a certain product and I decide to go and sell it in a new market, this is called market innovation. So for example, if we think about the Grameen Danone case, this type of yogurt that Danone originally produces might be too expensive for the less privileged and vulnerable communities in Bangladesh to buy. Okay, so what Muhammad Yunus thought of, like, I want to create a version of it that will have more value for them to buy. So whether at a cheaper price or at the same price, but he added these nutrients. So he did some kind of product innovation, so improving the nutritional value of the yogurt, and they found a new market, which usually Danone does not tap into because maybe they cannot afford it or they're not interested in this product. And they decided to sell to it. And of course, when we talk about market innovation, so finding new markets to sell existing products, you have to also think about what we call channel innovation. So how do we reach our market? So of course, in the Grameen Danone case, a big factor of channel innovation is that they tapped into the women who were distributing the yogurt in the vulnerable communities and the less privileged areas. And these women used to be like beggars or didn't have jobs. And now they provided them with a decent job. So it's like win-win on multiple levels if you think about it. We created a way to reach the communities that are not that easy to reach, and we created job opportunities along the way. So again, just recapping, we can have product innovation, we can have market innovation, we can have what we call business model innovation, meaning that we create new ways to make money. Okay, so for example, again, talking about Muhammad Yunus, for example, Muhammad Yunus, before he did the non-Grameen collaboration or partnership, of course, he's well known for his Grameen Bank, which is about microfinancing for, again, vulnerable communities and very deprived communities who live at like a few cents a day. And he provided them with micro loans to kick off their businesses. And like the size of the loan is as small as $10, for example. And he was making actually a large margin on it. So they just needed $10 and they were willing to give it back at $15. So in terms of interest rate, that is high interest rate if you think about it. But they were able to do it. So $10 changed their lives. They were able to make like a big difference in their lives and the people around them. And the Grameen Bank, although it's a not-for-profit, meaning that all the profit that is generated there circulates inside the company, yet it was able to generate huge profits, okay? So again, all the profits are circulated in the social enterprise itself. However, the margins are very high. So they were able to create money in new ways that other people didn't think of, for example. So that could be business model innovation. And finally, the last type of innovation is what we call process innovation. So we do not innovate the product or the market or the business model, but we simply innovate the process. How we, for example, manufacture something or how we get it to the customer. So we change something in the process, making it more efficient. And this by itself will allow us to have a competitive advantage over other people in the market. So any questions about the difference between invention and innovation? So again, invention is just when you discover or create something new, but you do not have to commercialize it or put it into use. Whereas innovation, it doesn't have to involve a new discovery, but it has to have this commercializability element. Any questions so far? All right, let's continue. So when we talk about social innovation, it's a particular type of innovation. So the same principles apply. So again, it could be business model innovation, product innovation, market innovation, or process innovation. But the main difference, which you touched upon in your answers and the reflection on the video that you saw, is that there is a social component there. What does that mean? It means that the reason behind innovation is not simply to have a bigger market share, let's say, or to just make more money, or to create a shift in mindset, in consumer behavior, etc. There is a social cause, there is a social mission. So in terms of, again, the Grameen Danon case, you can see that or I'm not gonna answer, I want somebody else to answer. What was the social mission of creating this innovation? What's the purpose behind it? Can somebody answer that? Maybe you'd like to raise your hand. So why is the Grameen Bank, sorry, not the Grameen Danon case? What's the purpose behind the innovation? Can somebody answer me in a few words?
To help the people, right? The people of the country.
Help them. Okay, well, let's be more specific. Yes, but help them how?
Like to help them to make a way out of poverty, like not just help them and this money finishes, not, but changing their lives for the long term.
Okay, so you are talking about the women distributors, maybe, Munya?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but that was one part. So I think Abu Bakr has his hand raised. Yes, I'm listening. Hello?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, social innovation can be traced to the needs of the community, such as to take corporate social responsibility and to respond to the needs that have been static in the community. So I think just the first reason for social innovation is corporate social responsibility and responding to the needs in the society. Thank you.
Okay, so from the Danone perspective, that's correct. From the Danone company perspective, it was part of its CSR. That's right. But
Mona,
what
some
about...
people are answering on the chat. Some people are answering on the chat.
Okay. All right. Kautar, you had your hand raised as well.
From the example of Danone, like I saw the social innovation in 2 points. The first one is creating jobs for the woman who used to bake. This is the first one. The second one, making the yogurt cheap for those people to so they can afford buying them. I think this is the second one.
Okay, I think there's one missing. Let me see if anybody got it in the okay, no, so you didn't talk about it. Okay, Pamela, I think, yes. Pamela, you talked about it. Wala, Abu, would you like to add anything? Abu Shaba?
So hi Mona. Thank you for your speech. I was going to say that my friend, the participants before, they talked about it, but it kind of involves the social innovation. I think it involves in giving opportunities or making the people in the community having roles and responsibility in the community at the same time, offering some help. So it involves like giving them help at the same time they have to do something for themselves. That's what I think.
Great. Great. I really like that. Thank you. But I mean, most of you focused on the again, the women who are distributing the yogurt, but you didn't really stress on the main mission, which was the reducing malnutrition, as Pamela Wakid wrote in the chat. So this is the main purpose behind this collaboration or joint venture. And along the way, because like Grameen, again, is a social enterprise and they think from different social angles, and they have, if you think about it, they have the experience to work with the less privileged women in rural areas, etc. So they even innovated again. Yani, first of all, they did a product innovation to combat malnutrition for the children of Bangladesh. Second, they did this, as you said, the channel innovation to create jobs for women who are distributing, and by that they made distribution easier, because if you think about rural areas, remote areas, how to reach the children, it's not that easy. So they worked on different angles, but the main reason is to reduce malnutrition in the children of Bangladesh. All right, great. So again, I would really like to say that social innovation represents very much what we call innovation. However, at its core, there is the social mission or social cause that we are trying to solve through the innovation. So it's very important for you to keep this in mind and ask yourselves, when you come up with your own innovations, am I solving a real social problem? Do I have a social mission? Is there a social purpose behind this project or business that I want to start? This is very important. Now, I would like to touch quickly upon what is entrepreneurship and what is social entrepreneurship. We will have more sessions where we will be talking in depth about this. So I won't be spending too much time here, but I would like to say that entrepreneurship is one method to commercialize your innovation. So remember, we said innovation by definition has to be commercialized. So if I draw a diagram of a system, this is not an innovation. Okay, it could be an invention, could be nothing, just an idea. But unless I implement it, it doesn't count as an innovation. So entrepreneurship is really implementing this commercialization in a business. Okay, so I am making it happen. For example, in the Danin Grameen Danan example, if they created a new entity, a new business called the Grameen Danan yogurt, then they used entrepreneurship to commercialize this innovation. I'm going to ask you a question now. What if Muhammad Yunus and Danan just decided to, for example, create 1 million cups of yogurt, 1 million of them, and that's it? Would that be entrepreneurship then? You can answer on the chat. No. Okay, why? Why do you think it's like not entrepreneurship anymore? It's still an innovation because they still had all the components that we talked about. But what if it was like short-term, you know, specific quantity, like one-time project? Can we call it entrepreneurship then? I mean, it could be in case they created a business and it failed. Yes, that would be entrepreneurship. But if it was from the very beginning designed to be short-lived, you know, short-term project, for example, I want to create 20 million yogurt cups, then that is not entrepreneurship because you're not creating a business model, a business around. It's just like a one-time thing. Snaira, would you like to comment?
Yes, so I think that what makes that project, a specific project, an entrepreneurship is because it's not profit oriented, although they are profiting from the business itself, but they actually return it back to the community. I'm not really sure how, because I didn't get all through the video itself, but I think he talks about like, if you invest, you only get what you invest, you don't get any profit from it. So that's something that makes it like a social entrepreneurship for me.
Yeah, so you answered the following question, which I didn't ask yet, which is why is it social entrepreneurship? But I mean, for it to be an entrepreneurial project or endeavor, it does not have to be a not-for-profit. So I mean, it could be really just a for-profit organization. So it's very important, guys, for us to really understand this. Entrepreneurship, I mean, the vast majority of entrepreneurship, not because you're in DPCH, you will just start thinking of entrepreneurship as a social good. No, entrepreneurship in general, yes, it has good purposes, but it does not have to solve the sustainable development goals. It does not have to target vulnerable communities. It does not have to have this core social mission objective. It could be for profit. There's nothing wrong with that. And actually, the vast majority of like famous entrepreneurship cases are like that. So they are very economic in nature. Yes, they do create a lot of jobs. They do create a lot of wealth. They do help the economies of their countries. But the aim is to make profit. And that's fine. Like, this is in a capitalistic world or capitalistic economy. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But social entrepreneurship comes at a different level. It's like where we are combining the best of both worlds, really. Like, we are doing good and we are doing well financially as well. So okay, so we don't want to mix between the two. So entrepreneurship does not have to be social entrepreneurship all the time. Actually, social entrepreneurship is a pretty new field. It's like 20 years old. We are now witnessing a rise in social entrepreneurship, more interest, especially after like human beings have realized that they're really depleting the resources of the planet. There are like too much pollution, too much waste, too much corruption, and so on. So a lot of people, especially millennials and now Gen Z, they are more conscious, they are more responsible, they're more aware that there could be a better way to do things. But again, do not mistake between the two. So entrepreneurship by definition does not have to have any social impact. It's just like creating businesses that are sustainable financially in nature, definitely they will have good consequences, but they do not have to be created to create impact or the social good. All right, so now what's social entrepreneurship? As you said, entrepreneurship is one way to commercialize our innovation. Definitely, there are some kinds of entrepreneurship where there is no innovation. So also you have to understand this. Not all, like entrepreneurship doesn't always have to comprise of innovation. Can you think of any examples? Have you ever seen an entrepreneurial project that has no innovation whatsoever? Rima?
By innovation, do you mean something that has been done before?
No, so we said there are many types of innovation. It could be business model innovation, it could be market innovation, it could be process innovation or product innovation, but doesn't have to be like radical. It could be incremental product innovation. But yes, there should be something new, either your process or how you make money, or which market you're targeting. Okay, so there has to be something new. It doesn't have to be a new product or a completely new product, but otherwise it's not called an innovation. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Of course, you've all heard of falafel, right? Falafel is like a famous Lebanese dish.
Yes.
And famous in like North America and many other countries in the world. So if I decide that I tomorrow want to open a falafel shop in Beirut, which is like literally full of falafel shops. It's not something new here. It's like we have in every street a falafel shop. So do you think that would be an innovative entrepreneurship? And again, like I'm gonna keep it very simple.
No.
I won't be like investing too much on my social media or my branding. It was a very simple falafel shop, doing falafel the traditional way, just waiting for people to pass by, smell the delicious falafel and come in, order, take it, go back, eat it in their, whatever they want. So yeah, that's not really innovation unless I do something more about it. I either try to target new customers, or I do like falafel with a twist. I do like a huge marketing campaign. Maybe I don't know, a mobile app, and I start delivering falafel. There are ways to innovate with falafel. I'm not saying it's like a dull industry, but I'm saying if I just go and open a new falafel shop the same old way as all the other falafel shops that have existed for like 50 years or more, I'm not really doing innovation. So again, this is important to always think, is my entrepreneurial endeavor innovative? And definitely, I mean, it's not the only way. You can have traditional entrepreneurial endeavors. However, if you think about it, if it's innovative, then you have better chances to really succeed and to do well. Mobile accessory shops, Rima is saying. Yeah, so if I just open another mobile accessory shop, again, no innovative marketing, no product innovation, no nothing. There's not really much innovation there. So in social entrepreneurship, it does not have to be innovative, but if you combine innovation and social entrepreneurship, then you're really combining the best of the best elements together. You are creating something that has better chance in succeeding and thriving and growing and making real impact and in changing the world. And this is what we want you to think about. So Fatima is saying it's a matter of first mover and fast follower. I mean, yes, but again, I want you to always remember that the very successful companies were never the first movers. Like Facebook was not the first mover. Google was not the first mover. But they caught, of course, that wave early on, and they did it better than those before them. And this is why they were able to be successful in this like immense magnitude. Great. Amazing. So by that, I think we would have finished the first part, which is like the definitions and setting the background. And now I really want to talk about why do we need more social innovators? So I believe Design Post-COVID Humanity is a program that is transforming you into what we call social innovators. And why is this important? Like, why are we doing this? why do we want you, like all of you who just spoke and those who are writing in the chat and who are idle, to be social innovators? What's the reason behind that? Why do we care so much, and why do we believe that this is something that is needed in this particular era, like the post-COVID? Why? To create solutions? Okay, Snaira, would you like to give it a shot?
Hi again. Yeah, I think that we are living in a pretty very challenging times. Lots of things, lots of crises going around simultaneously, economic, political, name it. So we needed social innovators to address this in the best creative way that is sustainable. And I think that this program is really doing great, giving us ideas. There are so many things I'm learning here that I couldn't, like I have been reading a lot also, and I've been engaged in a lot of projects, but this program is giving a lot of, combining so many theories, so many ideas. And I really find it, like, especially this one is very inspiring. The social innovation is a very new concept to me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're right, there are so many problems out there, and we need to be doing something about them. I had somebody, I lost him, I think.
Yeah, Miss Mona, it's me.
Yes.
It's me.
Yeah.
Right. Why do we need social innovators? Is because for me, on my opinion, it's to create more job employment, basically for people to fit in. Because if you don't have something to come up, definitely you don't have people to work under you. So secondly, will be like to create catalysts for change makers, so that they're able to fit in into the community-driven community. And lastly, will be like to empower or to emphasize the role of youths, basically in the community. Yeah.
Okay, empower the role of the youth, definitely. Khalid, what would you like to say?
I think the question is why are we doing this now? I believe the virus kind of put us at a turning point in the timeline of events. It kind of speeded up events for a period of time, and now due to the virus, we discovered a whole set of mistakes that we have been doing over the years that led to a lot of the things that we are facing right now. And if we keep on thinking in the manner that we used to before, then we're going to fall into the same mistakes when the next crisis happens, be it a virus or a natural disaster or a war or whatever. So I believe programs like this are designed for us to let go of the baggage that we had in the way we think and the way we do things, and look for something that's different in order for us to kind of avoid the mistakes that we did before.
Great. Thank you, Khalid. Wala?
Yeah, I'd like to add something here. I think we're supposed to do all of this because right now we can't get into the field, go in travel. So this is a great opportunity for us to discuss all these online. At the same time, we need to come up with something, but we need to come up with something different and proceed doing it. Like, not just to come up with something and then just do it and then that's it. I believe entrepreneurship is also about continuing doing the thing and delivering, no matter what service or thing it is, in a very unique and different way. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wala. And definitely, this is actually what we will be doing in the later sessions. So after like some teams that will be eliminated from the program, we will continue more thoroughly to work very closely with the teams who want to continue in order to make sure that their projects will be implemented, and we give them all the tools and the mentorship and the coaching that are needed to make them happen in reality. Because as you said, we have so many problems out there, and definitely Khalid, COVID, I think, has shed light that it's like a wake-up call for many of us, and that we have to change things. We cannot just keep doing things the old way. And if we want our planet and our humanity to thrive, then we have to change a lot of what we are or have been doing. So, I mean, I'm glad about that. I think that was one of the gifts of COVID, in spite of all of its negative gifts, I would say. So let's always look at the half full, half cup of the cup that's half full. So, of course, I'm sure you have seen with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, a lot about the SDGs. I'm not going to be going again over them, but I want to remind you. I want to remind you that the UN 2030 agenda, or what we call the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, they make a very beautiful framework for you guys in case you are confused, you don't know where to start, you don't know which project to select or which problem to work on. They give you a beautiful and very thorough framework for you to look at your passion and to try to decide, oh, like I really want to work in the education field. I really believe there are so many problems with education, especially like when COVID, happened, and the transition for many people was very difficult to do the switch between the traditional face-to-face method and the online and virtual learning. This has definitely made a lot of people rethink how we do education, for example. So it's really based on what you are passionate about, what you like to do, your own experiences, your own surroundings. SDG 17 is so important to achieving all the goals. That is true. However, unfortunately, SDG 17 is maybe the only one that's not specific in nature. So no matter which one you choose, I mean, I will encourage you to think of 17 in addition to that. So for example, Riyada for social innovation, we are primarily working on SDG 4, which is quality education. We are equipping the youth with social innovation education, entrepreneurial skills, hands-on, project-based programs, etc. But we don't do this alone. This is why we are partnering with Hamad bin Khalifa University, because we believe in partnerships, and partnerships make us stronger. And I believe that a lot of different players in COVID, very particularly, they realized that it is not a time for competition, but rather it's a time for partnership and collaboration. So for those businesses who are still thriving, for those NGOs also, or social enterprises who were able to survive during this tough period and the economic meltdown, they are the ones who found innovative ways to partner and to work closely with other organizations in order to keep running and to keep providing something of value to their customers and to their beneficiaries, basically. So again, this is an invitation to rethink the SDGs. And now I'm gonna just select a few problems that I believe are very relevant to our world. So I usually talk this from the context of the Arab world. I know that not all of you are Arabs, but I'm sure that you will relate to what I'm gonna be saying. For example, one of the most prominent problems that we have, and which again COVID was a huge wake-up call about, is environmental problems and issues. And this is a worldwide problem. Definitely you all know how much we are littering the planet. We are trashing our planet with our plastic bottles, with our electronics, our e-waste, phones, the laptops, chargers, screens. And now, you know, with COVID, everybody is like totally relying on all of these electronics. And what will happen if a few years later, they will come to the end of their lifespan? What happens then? Do we have systems in place to recycle electronic waste? I mean, maybe the amount of e-waste that's recycled does not exceed 10% at most. I mean, I don't have the statistics, but that's like a best guess, maybe much less. What are we doing in terms of landfills? Are we really doing our best in recycling? A lot of advanced countries in the West, they simply ship their waste to the less developed countries in East Asia, for example, or in Africa sometimes. There has been huge scandals about this, but it's still happening. There is really so much to be done there. Can't we ameliorate the way that we use plastic? Can't we create replacements for plastic, single-use plastics especially? Or when it comes to some kinds of plastic, can't we find new ways to use them, you know, new recycling methods? Because apparently what currently exists is not enough. Yes, there are recycling facilities, there are recycling methods, however, it's not enough. Isn't it time to have the manufacturers of these difficult to recycle, let's call them, or the items that are not decomposable, isn't it time for them to take some responsibility? For example, Coca-Cola, for example, all the water bottle companies, isn't it time for them to take some responsibilities of dumping all of this waste and try to find solutions? I mean, they have huge market shares, they have market access, they have money, they have resources, employees, technology, they have everything. Why don't they also contribute to solving this problem? There are many things to think about really when it comes to the environment, and these are just a few things. Mother Nature is so precious, but humans are harmful. And Fatima, the problem is that humans do not know that by harming the planet, they're harming themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of humans, they don't care enough about the environment because they don't see the direct impact on their health, on their well-being. And a lot of them, unfortunately, are selfish, and they wouldn't think that I am creating a worse planet that my children will inherit, like my children and my grandchildren. I mean, I cannot be selfish and just think about myself, even if I don't have children, right? I mean, we are a human race. If my ancestors didn't leave this planet for me, I wouldn't be here today. So unfortunately, there's a lot of greed, I would say. They don't care about the environment and how things will unfold after themselves. And if we just take a moment and think about the future generations, we will do things way, way differently than what we are doing it right now. Of course, conflict and war, refuge, displacement, and the big myth of what we call world peace. When I talk to my youth and students about peace, everybody will tell me it's a hoax, it will never happen. But why? Why does it have to be a myth? Why is it impossible to achieve peace? I mean, if you think about it, it's a human basic right to live peacefully, right? So what about conflict and like post-conflict as well? Refuge, now a lot of people are being displaced from their home countries. Are they welcome in other countries? Should they be equally treated? Should they be mistreated? How can we integrate them better without affecting negatively their host communities? It's not an easy topic to talk about, but it's very important to think about and to innovate solutions for that. Moreover, we talk about corruption, inequality, unemployment. Corruption, I mean, I come from Lebanon. You all know now about all the scandals of corruption. I can talk very openly about this. Corruption is not something that only affects a few people in a country. It affects every single person in a country. It affects me, it affects my children and my grandchildren who aren't there yet. But corruption is a big, big deal. And in a lot of developing countries that have a lot of potential, it's like a main obstacle to advancement, to development, to taking us from one place to a better one. And this is why we have to find solutions for corruption. Is it just that, oh, let us say politicians should be less corrupt and that's it? No, we can make pressure. We can create ways to increase transparency. We can build movements for people to push for other people to report cases of corruption, cases of bribery, cases of, you know, anything that has to do with corruption, really. Also, when we talk about inequality, it's not just between, you know, gender equality, let's say, or between different races. It's really about people with disabilities as well, refugees, youth, and older people. So, I'm very disappointed and surprised when somebody asks me in an interview, for example, or or you know, it could be a TV interview, a magazine article. Like, what's the role of the youth in I don't know what, or what's the role of women in like development, or what's the role of women in technology? Like, what are you talking about? Youth, I mean, in the Arab countries, youth, we have 100 million people in the segment that comprises the youth. That's insane, 100 million people. When we talk about women, women are 50% of the globe, 50%, it's like half, exactly half. And we're still talking about like, what's the role of women? Like, are you kidding me? It is time to really start treating each other equally, and to enforce this change. Again, I don't just wait for my government to make the Lebanese woman have the right to give her kids the Lebanese citizenship, which unfortunately is still not a right until today. But I have to push for that, and to create methods and means to do that. Unemployment, of course, I'm sure that all of you are aware, especially now with COVID, this problem is increasing very rapidly. Youth are not able to find jobs because simply jobs are very scarce right now. So what do we do about that? How do we create new jobs? Of course, entrepreneurship is one way, but is it the only way? Aren't there other ways to do things? So we have all to think about these problems. And finally, before we answer some questions, I would like to talk about unmanaged urbanization. So again, in the developing areas of the world, we find that a lot of migration happens from rural areas to urban areas. However, it happens in an unorganized way. So what does that, what are the effects of this unmanaged urbanization? We really have like lack of sometimes safety, lack of clean water, of sanitation. Sometimes we have abuse in these areas. We can also have excess pollution, lack of waste management. So it's not just about, you know, it doesn't look good to go for tourists and to take pictures. No, it's not just that. It's about the quality of life that is happening in those places. So it's a big thing, and usually in such areas in India, for example, we call them the slums, and you know, in different places they have different names. There is a high crime rate, again, abuse, bad working conditions. So there are a ton of problems in those that result from this unmanaged urbanization. And finally, the quality of education. I touched a bit upon it before, but that is also a huge problem. And I believe that with COVID, we realized that the skills and the teaching methods that were being used were not up to the level of the needs of this century. They are not up to the level of the needs of the planet, of the humans, of the future, really. So what can we do about that? There are many things to be done. And it's really your call to find, again, your passion, your very specific area where you want to do this change and improvement. And now I want to answer a set of questions before I take your own questions, because these are common questions that we always get. The first question is, and maybe like, let's make it more interactive. I'll ask you and you'll answer me, and then I'll give you my answer. The first question is, should social innovation by nature, again, we said social innovation does not have to be a business, okay? Otherwise it becomes social entrepreneurship, and today we're talking about social innovation particularly. Does it have to be a profit or not for profit? So let's say I want to create 100 million Grameen Danone cups of yogurt, and that's it. I'm not gonna create a business. By definition, in order for this to qualify as social innovation, does it have to be for profit or does it have to be not for profit? Can somebody answer? So this is always a big question that arises whenever we talk about social innovation or social entrepreneurship. And I would like to hear from you. Is it a must to be for profit, or is it a must to be not for profit? Guesses, chat. I don't get the question, Monia. So what, I mean, for something to be called a social innovation, does it have to be for profit? We said you have to commercialize an innovation. So it's not just something that you design on paper and you keep it there. Otherwise, not called an innovation. So people have to use it. Okay, so let's say, again, I gave the example of Grameen Danone. They created 100 million yogurt cups, and that's it. They didn't create a company, I'm assuming. Okay, I'm creating a different case. Does this have to be a for-profit or not for-profit initiative in order to qualify as a social innovation? Yes, Wala?
So I'm not pretty sure about my answer. I'm just going to make a guess.
Yes.
What I think is that maybe it just needs to cover the project's needs and requirements. It doesn't have to be profitable. And it's not a must, of course. It can be and it doesn't have to be, but at least it needs to cover the project's requirements. That's what I'm guessing, but I'm not pretty sure.
Okay, that's actually a very good guess. So what Wala is saying is that it doesn't have to be for profit, but that it has to be at least able to cover its own costs. And this is from a sustainability perspective, sustainability with a small s, meaning financial or economic sustainability. Definitely, Wala, you are very right about this. And in reality, social innovation could be either. It could be either for profit or not for profit. Of course, if it is not for profit and at a loss, it will not survive. So it will be short-lived, short-term, it will not be able to survive. So instead of, like, even they wouldn't be able to do 100 million, they might like do, I don't know, 1 million. And if they're not able to cover their costs, then they will stop. And we don't want this to happen. So it has to at least, yes, cover its costs, achieving what we call economic or financial sustainability. And nowadays, and I'm one of the advocates of the for-profit social entrepreneurship or social innovation method, we believe that it is not contradictory to have profit and social good or impact. And again, this might be controversial, and it's, I mean, you can tell me, no, I don't want to be for profit. And tell you, yes, definitely, this is your own choice. Like Muhammad Yunus, he says that you shouldn't, if you are creating a social business, it should not be for profit. It's his, you know, it's his choice, and this is how he thinks about it. But there are other schools of thought that believe that it could be for profit, but so far, no schools of thought say that it should not be non-profit. Okay, so we all acknowledge that it could be non-profit. Great. So the second question is, if we're creating a social innovation, again, if it has to qualify as a social innovation, does it only have to target vulnerable communities? So again, in the Grameen Danone case, they were targeting the less privileged children who are malnutritioned. If they were targeting all children in Bangladesh, regardless of their socioeconomic status or their privilege, would it still count as a social innovation? So does it have to only target vulnerable communities? Guesses? Guesses?
I think it depends on what do you mean by vulnerable communities, because for example, I'm from Spain, and for example, for us, a vulnerable community will be teenagers, for example, and they are not poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, we may create also social changing stuff, you know, that is helping them, or maybe psychological traits, and it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you gotta define me better what is vulnerable.
Okay, no, we mean less privileged, if you want to say. So they do not have equal access to resources, let's say. They are subject to a lot of you know, inequalities. They might be subject to abuse, etc. So yes, it's less privileged. They could be in poor areas, remote areas, for example. Yes, Kautar?
I think my answer is yes, because in the example we're talking about, the vulnerable community is the poor children with malnutrition. So if we widen the target group to make it for all the children, I think it's fine as long as the vulnerable community is in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I really like this answer. So what Qatar is suggesting, it doesn't have to be exclusive for vulnerable. However, it should not be excluding the vulnerable communities. So I'm going to repeat that last sentence. So what Qatar is suggesting, that it does not have to be exclusive to the vulnerable or less privileged communities. However, it should not exclude them. And I agree with you. Again, this is controversial. For Muhammad Yunus, for example, yes, he believes that your innovation has to target vulnerable communities to count as social innovation. However, again, I'm one of the advocates, and I'm not the only one. Like, there's a whole school of thought that believes that as long as you are solving a problem that is environmental or social in nature, and you have a social mission in your innovation, then you can still count, what you're doing can still count as a social innovation, even if it is not exclusive to vulnerable or less privileged communities. But as Kauthar just said, it shouldn't be only targeting the privileged or the rich or the, like specific segments. It has to be inclusive. Okay, so this is a very important word, inclusion. All right, so we don't want to make it exclusive to the rich ones. If you do it exclusive to the poor ones, that's fine. It still counts as a social innovation. Simply, what would Muhammad Yunus argue, for example, regarding the Grameen Danone yogurt? He would say the rich do not need this kind of yogurt. Okay, they are not malnutritioned. They can just buy the regular type of yogurt. So it's not really a big deal that they are not getting this particular yogurt. So there's nothing ethically wrong with that. They don't need it. They are already having all their vitamins and nutrients from the different foods that they are getting: meat, the fish, the chicken, the vegetables, the fruits, etc. Whereas the poor ones, they are barely having any food on a daily basis, and they need this special attention with this high nutritional value yogurt. All right, so, and there's two more questions. When you talk about social innovation, does it have to involve technology? Does it have to be technologically driven? I think that's an easy one. What do you think? No, not necessarily. Okay, the answer is no, it doesn't have to be. I mean, in Riyada for Social Innovation and Shabab Lab, more particularly our e-learning platform, we definitely favor the technologically driven solutions, because we are aware that we need to equip the youth with 21st century skills, and the vast majority of what we call 21st century employability skills are tech-based, like data science, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, programming, etc. So these are some of the most needed and in-demand skills of the 21st century. However, it does not have to be technology driven. And finally, when we talk about social innovation, and I think I answered this before, but just like a small quiz, does it have to be translated into a business? Does it have to involve entrepreneurship? So if you remember, we already covered this. For my innovation or solution to count as social innovation, does it have to involve an entrepreneurial aspect?
I think to be commercialized, it needs internship.
No, it could be commercialized without entrepreneurship. So I'll give you an example. If you are able to create a patent, for example, you can simply license the patent so other people can use it. Other companies, for example, they pay you some royalty fees, you license it, and they can commercialize it. So this is commercialization by licensing, we call it. So entrepreneurship is not the only way to commercialize, but it is one of the preferred ways, I would say, because in addition to commercializing the innovation, it would allow you to create your own job, again, talking about unemployment, and it will allow you to create jobs for other people around you. So it has benefits, advantages, and usually people who come up with this innovation, they are the best people to drive it forward. So for example, let's say Muhammad Yunus gave this idea of creating this yogurt to me, okay, and told me, you know what, Mona, you are a great social entrepreneur. I want you to create this in Bangladesh. Do you think I will be like a good fit, or do you think I might do a good job? I mean, the same way that he did by leading this? What do you think? I mean, I don't believe I will do a good job as him, because I mean, I've never been to Bangladesh. I know nothing about the country. I know nothing about the people. I know nothing about their problems. I don't have the same passion as him in solving this malnutrition problem very particularly. So it's very different. So it's not always sustainable to just give your innovation away in some other way, and it will be more sustainable if you create, most probably, not always, I mean, there are exceptions, but most probably if you lead it, at least at the very beginning, it might have better chances in surviving, because you have the passion, you have the vision, etc. Okay, great. So now I really want you to think about examples, and I think now is also a good time to take a break. So I want you to take a break, and in the break, try to think about examples, okay, from either your projects that you would like to share with us that have social innovation embedded in them, or other social innovation projects that you have heard of, and come back and share with us what you have in mind. And I will share with you some examples from my country as well. And then we will have a breakout room and conclude the session. So I believe we can have a 10 minutes break. So we will be back at 7:28 sharp. Is that okay with everybody? And meanwhile, I mean, if you can just try to come up with some examples for us to hear from you after the break. Okay, so I'm gonna be pausing the recording now, and we will be back in 10 minutes. Basically, it's very important for us to relate all of these concepts to real projects that we have seen around us. And sometimes we simply wouldn't have thought about something as social innovation, but it would be. So it's very important to do those linkages. And just for the sake of time, I believe I will postpone this discussion until you get into your breakout rooms. So keep your thoughts, keep your examples that you have in your mind to discuss them in the breakout rooms, because I would really like you to discuss this with your colleagues and your fellow program participants. So I will give you a few examples from my country, which is Lebanon, and I have a surprise for you at the end of these examples that I will tell you about. So basically, I don't know if you've heard of Sarah's bag. Sarah is an entrepreneur from Lebanon, and she's a designer. She basically is very well known for her, sequented, very unique bag designs. And recently, even celebrities have been carrying her designs on the catwalk and on the red carpet. So basically, Sarah, what she does is that she employs women prisoners, so women who are in prison, in embroidery, sequenting, and implementing those very delicate, intricate designs to produce unique items. So no two items of her bags are like each other. They are expensive. They are not affordable for the regular person. However, she has created a social enterprise. So it's a bit weird, right? We're saying it's a for-profit, expensive product. What's the social innovation there? Can anybody tell me? Any ideas? What's the social innovation?
I guess that to empower the women that they lost their chance to be alive, to live a normal life and have a normal job, I guess.
Exactly, Fatima, exactly. And by the way, if you go to Sarah's Bag website, or if you buy a bag, you will find this written in the mission of the company and in the story of the bag. So it's not just about luxurious, unique design. It's about empowering those less privileged women, vulnerable women. So again, because again, as you said, they lost their chances and opportunities, and she's empowering them and skilling them to have better chances later on. So this is the first example. The second example is also, by the way, these are social entrepreneurship examples, but again, embedded under them is a social innovation. So simply, it's maybe more difficult to know about a social innovation that did not transform into entrepreneurship, because they wouldn't have done a lot of advertising or publicity about it, simply because, like, again, if it's just a social innovation, then it might have died too quickly, or it was licensed but we don't know about its origins, etc., etc. So it's easier to know about social enterprises than just social innovation by itself. But the examples I'm giving you today all have integrated social innovation in them. ProAbled is a platform that is made for human resource experts to be able to find adequate skills and people to fulfill certain jobs. But these are not just any people, they are people who have disabilities. So in Lebanon, for example, we have a law that says that companies need to employ 3% of their workforce to be people with disabilities. But unfortunately, very few companies do that. One of the excuses is that we don't have access to this community. We do not know about the skilled people who will fit the job requirements, etc. And ProAbled has come to make this possible, to stop having these excuses and to tell the human resource departments that we will be able to match you with exactly what you need. And hence the name ProAbled. So we're not talking about disabled people, but ProAbled. They might have a physical disability, yet this doesn't mean that they cannot do their job perfectly and even more. And we have all heard of examples where this group of people will be able to be much more productive and much more dedicated to their job, really. Another social enterprise, which also is based on social innovation, is Social Catering. Basically, I believe the entrepreneur behind it, his name is Samer Sfer, will be one of our guest speakers in the upcoming weeks. And Samer, he has created this idea of wanting to empower rural women who also are vulnerable, meaning, for example, they are either widowed or divorced, or like they don't have a lot of income resources. And he created a training program in a central kitchen where these women, they come for a certain period of time, 6 months to be more specific. They get training, they learn how to cook delicious food that is suitable to be catered for companies, NGOs, etc. And they learn from top chefs, and they learn about all the hygiene regulations and processes, etc. And after those 6 months are over, they will be equipped enough to go and find a job in other restaurants or caterers, etc. So it's not just a matter of creating a kitchen where I employ rural women and maybe I employ 5 or 10 rural women and that's it. But I have always a continuous influx of these rural women who are less privileged, and I am equipping them with the skills and that they need in order to be employed later on. So the impact is multiplied. It's not just like one-time impact. You know, I changed the lives of 5 families. No, I'm changing the lives of hundreds of families, because this is an ongoing process. Another example is Live, Love, Recycle. A few years back, we had a huge waste management crisis in Lebanon. It was really very, very, very embarrassing, I would say. We made news worldwide about the piles of trash, and there was like a river made of trash bins. and trash bags. And as a result of this crisis, of course, we had a lot of social innovations that revolve around recycling, optimizing the process of picking up recyclable waste, because it's very expensive in Lebanon. The logistics of picking up recyclable waste is expensive and was for a long time a hurdle for recycling companies. So Live, Love, Recycle, which is a sister company of another social enterprise called Live, Love, Beirut, they created an app where you as a person in a household can request a pickup of your recyclable waste. I believe they have some conditions, so that it has to be a certain weight, etc., etc. And they will tell you when they're going to come pick it up. And every time they collect recyclable waste from you, they will give you points. So you'll be accumulating loyalty points that you can redeem in different places. And so far they have won several awards. And as you can see, they have small pickup trucks. So it's not the big pickup truck that we usually see. So they are trying to optimize the process and make logistics more affordable and more productive. And finally, this is the surprise I was telling you about. We have Fabric Aid, who actually the founder of Fabric Aid, he was awarded as the UN Champion of the Earth for last year. His name is Mona Itani, and he will be our speaker tomorrow. He is one of the most inspirational speakers I have ever met. He is very young. He's in his early 20s, but I mean, the work that he was able to do in a very few years and creating Fabric Aid and creating a brand and a success story around it is simply unbelievable. I am sure that you will enjoy his talk and his journey so much tomorrow. And I won't talk more about it because I would like to keep it as a surprise for tomorrow. All right, and now I believe it will be time to break you up into breakout rooms. And I would like to urge everybody to be to be active, engaged. Please share your thoughts. I want you, so here I say research some social innovation or social entrepreneurship cases and share with us. But I want you also to talk about examples from your own surrounding. So again, it could be a friend, it could be an encounter, it could be a successful story in your country. Like I said, Fabric Aid is a successful story in Lebanon when it comes to social innovation. You can also share with the breakout room these success stories. And after we come back, we will try to take one example from each of the breakout rooms. You should decide which one you would like to share aloud. And then we will wrap up with a few notes basically. So I hope it's clear. Again, I'm gonna recap. In your breakout rooms, I would like you to discuss amongst each other. So it's not, but you're not gonna be in your own group, by the way. So it's just random. You'll be with different people. So maybe you know some of them, maybe some of them will be new. And I want you to discuss examples of social innovation or social entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter at this point. And share with them some examples from your own countries, from your own encounters, or if you don't have this close encounter, you can research and share something that you found based on research. And then we will come back and share. So I will give you 15 minutes for that. And so I believe a lot of our co-hosts will be in the rooms. Checking, if you need anything. Yasmin will be also in one of the rooms. All right. So I will start the breakout rooms now. All right, guys, in case you did not automatically get into a breakout room, then you have to press on the prompt to join the breakout room. So who would like to go first? Let's start with breakout room 1. Who would like to speak on the behalf of the team? Do you know your room numbers or you're not sure? Or maybe we can raise the hands. Yeah?
Actually, we don't know numbers.
Okay. So for next time, you can just look at the top of the breakout room. It will tell you the number. Okay. For next time. All right, Khalid, would you like to go?
Yes. So we are group number 4. In our group, we had very, very inspiring projects, but we chose to go with a project called Pika Project. So Pika Project is based in Malaysia. I know the people that founded the project, and the basics of it is this group of people found that there are a lot of refugees in Malaysia that come from a lot of the places that have crises: Syria, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Palestine, Iraq, Pakistan. And what they did is similar to a project that you told us about, Mona. So what they did is they went to these families, or they went to families from these countries, and they told them, because we have different tastes of food, what they did is they told them, why don't you cook us food and package them, and we'll start selling these foods in university events. So they didn't start a huge catering company where they cater to large events. It's just small scale, 100, 200 participant kind of events. And things took off from there with them. At the moment, they have 25 chefs or families. So they're supporting 25 families from the countries that I spoke about. They managed to distribute a good 135,000 meals. And they gave back to these families around $500,000 for their kids, or for kids, in order to receive an education. So they served a double purpose. The first one was to support these families that are cooking. The second one is they created a fund that helps in giving back to kids for education. And the third, of course, their own organization was sustained through this process. I could send the website of Pika Project so you guys can look at it. It's a very nice project.
By the way, all of these examples, guys, they're very good to keep in mind, because, I mean, I always believe that the way for you to innovate is to always immerse yourself within this ecosystem of innovation. So the more you read, the more videos you watch, the more examples you hear of, you research, and you can retell the story of, the more equipped you will be to come up with your own innovations and to start your own solutions. All right, Omar, would you like to tell us about the project, Omar Musalli?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
So I just shared the project that I attend a lot of events with the social innovation project, and I remembered this one because this one is it's really unique here. So it's called Pikala, and Pikala in Moroccan Arabic, it's bicycle. So the project is for tourism in Marrakesh. And they were people from Netherlands that started this project, and they helped the young people who created Moroccan designs, especially pieces with very beautiful calligraphy, etc. And they mixed those pieces. So the project is mixing those pieces that those young people created in a bicycle. So the bicycle will look like Moroccan and very beautiful. Yeah, they just like opened like a store, just a little store, and they've offered tourists to like rent the bicycle for an affordable price. And of course, all the money goes to the young people and the whole project, which I find like genius.
Thank you,
I
Hamad.
shared the video.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to watch the video. I just opened it in my browser, so I do not forget to watch it because it's very interesting. And definitely this aspect of like reviving certain heritage, renewing culture is very social in nature. So it definitely counts as social innovation as well. All right, who would like to go next?
Okay, I will go.
Yes, name please, just so I pin you. Muhammad.
Hamad Kebir. Yeah, I was in group 2 or in room 2 rather.
Okay, right.
So we discussed, and I came up with one project that I heard about in the past. I also attended different sessions on leadership, and they were explaining about it. So it's a project from Ghana, and it is also related to bicycle, similar to the just previous one. But this one is like they're using bamboo. I don't know if you guys know bamboo trees.
Bamboo, yeah.
Yes. So they use that to create bicycles. They cut the tree and frame it in a form of a bicycle. It's like it creates only the frame because the chain and other parts will need to be steel. So how it began was in his community. It's a rural village in Ghana, where many of the times the young people will have to migrate to the cities in Accra and other part of Ghana for better life. So he noticed that those that are living in the village, they are either farmers or cattle railers. Like there are no opportunities, no job for them. So he created this initiative to make sure that young people in the community will have work. So his main motive were two: for the young people to have work, and also for the money that they will get from the business, they will distribute it to the community again in the form of providing education for the children. So now the company is very big in Ghana. They export their products all over Europe. Tourists will buy, people will be ordering from their businesses. So they used just basic tools and create bicycles in their community. From the bush, they cut the trees, make the bikes outside, employ young people, and get the money and give it back to the community by building schools or sponsoring people to school. So it's innovative in a sense
full
that
cycle, actually, like they are using nature to create means of transportation, employing people, and again, giving back the revenues for a good purpose, which is education. So, I mean, it's a full cycle. It's beautiful, honestly. They have done a lot of thinking. And definitely I would like encourage all of you to think about, yes, how can we integrate these different elements? So environment, youth, environmental friendly transportation, creating jobs, putting the revenues again back into a good purpose. That's amazing. Who would like to go next? Thank you, Muhammad. So I think we have 3 more breakout rooms.
Okay. Hello, Miss Mona. Okay. Actually, Khalid has actually told my idea, basically feature aids. But then I would like to share another idea. It's called my backyard tour in Malaysia, in which that they created a community-based tour in which that they empower the community to have a tourism industry. Their own community to tour the tourists that comes there, and they make profit out of it. So the main motive was there to actually educate youngsters to not waste their time on gadgets and telephones. So that is why from there they able to cultivate the importance of time and the importance of culture and tradition of a specific community. So the project is called My Backyard Tour. Yeah.
Also, if you can provide a link or, in the chat so we can take a look at it. And all of these are really very good ideas, very good examples, very good resources. And again, they enrich the way we think about social innovation. And the more we read about them and learn about them, the better equipped we are to come up with our own innovations. So who else would like to go?
Okay, maybe I'll go next.
Yes.
I was in the breakout room 6.
I know, okay.
I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So the idea I shared was one of the ideas of a competition I attended, Hall Prize. They were the ones who won the 2019 edition. So the idea was to most developing countries are actually countries where there's a lot of tourism, there's a high influx of tourists in the country. So what they did was to create an online platform to recruit the youths who are in those countries that have high unemployment rates. They also had high unemployment rates. So the platform was to recruit youths, give them some initial skills as tourist guides. So these youths who don't have a job, they get registered on the system. They give them some prior training, some skills on how to interact with tourists. And given that they already know the area where they are, so it was easy for them to show the tourists around. So that system, the online system, was registered and build trust with the tourists, so that when the tourists come into the country, they are able to easily bond with those that are supposed to guide them around. So they actually recruited over 3,000 youths at the time. So the platform was really doing well, and by so doing, they're able to provide jobs to those youths, and also make the system sustainable as well. Mm-hmm. So it was really a nice project. Maybe I'm not being too explicit about it. I'll probably look for it and also share the link.
Yes.
But I found it really interesting as well.
Definitely. Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Who would like to go next? So I think we have only 2 breakout rooms left.
We would like to share with you about an initiative that is based in Lebanon.
Yes, Hamad.
It is called Food Blast. It is a local hunger relief initiative run by a group of volunteers that are willing to help fighting hunger in Lebanon. They Food Blast partner with different with different partners, and trying to fight hunger in Lebanon.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I've heard of Food Blast maybe because I live in Lebanon. Thank you for sharing. And it's always like a good exercise, guys. I mean, now if you want to reflect on today's session, think about all of these examples and try to pinpoint like the innovation. Like what is unique, for example, about Food Blast? Okay, why are they more innovative than other charity organizations that also donate food, let's say, or contribute towards poverty and hunger, etc. So it's always good to like with your thinking, with your basically like argumentation, to go one step further and ask yourself, like, all right, what makes them unique? What makes them innovative? Why is this a social innovation? Is it also a social enterprise or not? So it's very good to think about these points, just to make sure that you grasp the main concepts that we covered today. And I believe we still have 1 breakout room. Any volunteers, or that's it for today? All right, so it seems that's it. I hope it was an interactive session, an informative session, and I hope that it will help you with your own social innovations. Again, in this particular time of our lives post-COVID, or like hopefully towards the end of COVID, it's very important to really think out of the box. It's very important for us to go the extra mile and say, I don't just want to create something, I want to create something with a purpose. I want to create something that will benefit other people, that will benefit the planet and the humankind. It's very important for us to, again, benefit from this wake-up call that COVID has given us all, in order to say that we want to create change and we want to innovate and again, be unique. I don't want just to replicate something that already exists. I always want to have an edge. If you want to succeed, you have to have an edge. Thank you so much for everyone. I'm sorry for the 10 minutes extension of time. I hope that tomorrow you will be enjoying Omar's talk as much as I always enjoy it. It will be at the same time like today. It might be a bit shorter, depending on your interaction and your questions. And I look forward to seeing you again all tomorrow with this guest speaker who will be really giving you a solid case of social innovation in Lebanon. Thank you so much.